Did you know that Genghis Khan, the father of the Mongol Empire, had so many children that 1 in every 200 men alive today are his direct descendants? Talk about a busy social calendar. Welcome, history buffs and comedy enthusiasts. Today we're embarking on a unique journey through time, exploring the lives of the most ruthless and badass leaders ever to grace our history books. You might be thinking, oh, it's another dry history lesson, but hold on to your hats, folks. Because this isn't just any old history lesson. This is history served with a side of laughter. From ancient emperors with a knack for dramatic entrances to medieval kings with an unusual sense of humor, history is teeming with leaders who were as hilarious as they were horrifying. Yes, you heard that right. These leaders knew how to keep their subjects on their toes, not just with their ruthless reign, but also with their surprising wit. Now buckle up as we dive into the hilarious and horrifying world of history's most ruthless leaders. First up on our list is none other than the infamous Vlad the Impaler, not to be confused with Vlad the Inhaler, his asthmatic cousin. You've probably heard of Vlad the Impaler. This guy didn't just have a knack for ruling, he had a flair for the dramatic. He was the original Dracula, the one who made vampires cool way before Twilight. But don't let his pop culture status fool you. Vlad earned his nickname by skewering his enemies on long spikes. Talk about a prickly personality, right? Now moving on to Ivan the Terrible. And no, we're not talking about your ex. Ivan was the first Tsar of Russia and had a hot temper hotter than a Siberian summer. His temper tantrums were so epic that he once accidentally killed his own son in a fit of rage. And you thought your family dinners were dramatic. Last but not least, we have Attila the Hun. Attila was the ruler of the Huns from 437 to 453. He was known as the Scourge of God, but I like to call him Attila the Fun. He once made an emperor's sister his vassal and demanded half of the Western Roman Empire as her dowry. Talk about an expensive taste. These guys were ruthless, relentless, and downright terrifying, but you've got to admit they knew how to leave a mark. They were the original bad boys of history, the kind of rulers who made Game of Thrones seem like a children's bedtime story. So there you have it, the first 3 of our top 10 most ruthless leaders. They ruled with an iron fist, a wooden stake, and in Attila's case, a whole lot of Huns. But remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And that's just the beginning, folks. Wait until you hear about the next set of leaders. Next up, we have the delightful trio of Queen Ranavalona I, Leopold II of Belgium, and Genghis Khan. They're not exactly the 3 musketeers, more like the 3 massacres. Let's start our terrifying trip with Queen Ranavalona I of Madagascar. Her reign was like playing a real-life game of Survivor, except the odds were never in your favor. She was so ruthless that she reduced her island's population from around 5 million to 2 million. Now that's what I call a population control strategy. But hold on to your history books, folks, because here comes Leopold II of Belgium. This man ruled the Congo Free State like his personal sandbox, and not in a fun, let's build sandcastles kind of way. He was responsible for the deaths of millions of Congolese people. Talk about a royal pain. And last, but certainly not least, we have Genghis Khan. Genghis was a Mongolian warrior who created one of the largest empires in history. But don't be fooled by his impressive resume. He was as warm and cuddly as a porcupine in a balloon shop. He's known to have killed so many people that he literally changed the course of climate change. Now that's a carbon footprint. So let's recap. We've got a queen who was more off with their heads than the Queen of Hearts, a Belgian king who treated an entire country like his personal plaything, and a Mongol warrior with a penchant for population decimation. It's like the world's worst game of Would You Rather. Remember, history isn't just about the good guys. Sometimes it's the villains who make the story interesting. And these 3 certainly knew how to keep things lively. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, we have the final 4 leaders to talk about. Hold on to your hats, folks, because here come the final 4 fiends: Mao Zedong, Joseph Stalin, Adolf Hitler, and Kim Jong-il. They're not exactly the Fantastic Four, more like the Fearsome Four. First up, we've got Mao Zedong, China's chairman of the board, but not the kind you'd want to have a friendly chat with over tea. Mao was the mastermind behind the Great Leap Forward, which was more of a giant leap into famine and disaster. It's said he caused the death of tens of millions. Talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Next on the docket is Joseph Stalin, the man of steel and not the Superman kind. Stalin had a knack for purges, famines, and labor camps. You could say he was the ultimate party pooper, the party being the Communist Party and the poop being, well, you get the picture. Moving on, we have Adolf Hitler. Now here's a guy who took the term dictatorship to a whole new level. He was the artist who painted a world war, and let's just say his artistry left a lot to be desired. Hitler was a man with a plan, a very, very bad plan. Last but not least, we have Kim Jong-il, North Korea's dear leader who wasn't so dear after all. This guy loved his nuclear program more than a kid loves candy. And he wasn't sharing his sweets with anyone, making him the ultimate party crasher. What a lineup of despots, dictators, and all-around not nice guys. Each one of them took the reins of power and turned it into a reign of terror. They've all left their mark on history, but let's be honest, they're marks we'd rather erase. And there you have it, folks. 10 of the most ruthless and badass leaders throughout history. Remember, history is not always about the good guys. Sometimes the bad guys can be just as entertaining.